Well, we're recording. But I don't
Are you
have...
the star wife? Not sitting at the table?
I am.
But it was funny.
Focused on... But we only have one camera.
I mean, I could sit
Yeah.
at
That one's recording.
Let's try this again.
Hi everybody and welcome to episode 27 of Knights at the Round Table. Today we are discussing the 2004 film The Chronicles of Riddick. The director's cut though, not the original theatrical release. So I'm going to start with general impressions of the film. Bill.
Generally, I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, when I was watching it just recently, I was sort of distracted and doing a couple other things at the same time. So some of it I sort of missed and so forth, but I did go back and sort of look at it. Director's cut is definitely better than the original theatrical release.
Agreed.
There's actually a bit more of a storyline to it now, rather than just a straight sci-fi action movie. So I actually generally enjoyed it.
Sue.
I have to agree. I really enjoyed Chronicles of Riddick. I have seen the whole series. It is one of my favorite series. And oddly enough, while watching Chronicles of Riddick, I didn't remember that I had watched it before. So I didn't remember anything about it as I was going through. So it was almost like an entirely new experience, which was good. Because I found like that I really had fun with it. I loved it. I loved the bits, and because I didn't know what was going to happen next, I was like taken on for the ride, and that's what I want out of a movie. And of course, I also watched the director's cut, which is infinitely better than the theatrical version. So definitely watch that if you get a chance.
Yeah. I love this movie almost as much as I love Pan's Labyrinth. I have a note here. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it, but literally, I have a note on page 1. It's about the 6th one down that says, I fucking love this movie. And then on page 2, at roughly 9 down, it says, fuck, I love this movie. I really like this movie. It is by far my favorite sci-fi film out there. I think it was filmed beautifully. The score is stunning. The music in this movie is amazing. The visuals are amazing. And I love it a lot. A lot.
I mean, it sets it at a very high bar at the very beginning of the movie, where you've got that pillar with the faces on it, and then it just like opens up and shoots that epic, and it is fantastic, and you're just like pulled right into the story immediately, and it never loses you at any point in time, I found.
Well, there were some moments, because I have watched this film an obscene number of times. I can divorce myself slightly from being drawn so into it, as I usually am, and there were a couple of moments where I was just like... Some of the lines were pretty cheesy, and also... Toombs being thrown upon his gunner right at the start of the film when they're chasing Riddick.
Toombs cracked me up so many times!
He did! He had one really spectacular line, which was, now look at you, all back of the bus and shit.
Yes.
And then, but his ending line was so terrible. It was so bad. I should have taken the money.
Yes,
just
exactly. And you're like, really?
Yeah. I mean... I get it. It was like kind of it was kind of a weird, humorous thing. I get it, but it was so corny. I was just like, oh god, really. But yeah, those are my. Oh, I have to say, Karl Urban is incredibly convincing as Lord Varko. And also, I have a note here. It's it literally reads, "Nobody wears a helmet like Karl Urban." In this one, in the Two Towers, honestly, he's the only one who could pull off those weird helmets.
Yeah, no, I know, and it's one of the, I do have a point about that helmet and having the mask, because, I mean, the front one, we are talking the same person, yes?
No, wait, do you know who Karl Urban is? Lord Varko?
I believe so. Or are you talking the long-haired one?
The long-haired one?
Never mind.
See, I didn't realize Karl
He's
Urban was in this
he's
one.
not the... He was Lord Varko, and Tandy Newton, his wife, the Lady Varko, who was fantastic as the most manipulative, horrible little sniper magic.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, so it
So,
is...
yeah, no, you were thinking of the Lord Marshal.
Right,
Who was
okay.
played by Cole
Too many
Fuller.
lords, god damn it, stop that. Don't confuse us like this. Yeah,
Colin Fuller was
that
amazing.
Oh, yeah, so the whole time I was watching the movie, I'm like, I know I've seen you in something, and for the love of
Bon
God,
Cop,
I
Bad
couldn't-
Cop.
and it was Bon Cop, Bad Cop. I looked it up, I'm like, what the hell have I seen him in? Yeah, so if you're not from Ottawa or Quebec,
one.
you need to watch Bon Cop, Bad Cop, but please at least have some knowledge of French, although they subtitle it, but watch Bon Cop,
Oh
Bad
yeah,
Cop, because
Bon
it's
Cop, Bad
funny.
Cop is hilarious. But Colin Fuller is,
So good.
well, he's a classically trained actor.
Mhm.
And you can tell in this, he brings a wonderful gravitas to a role that could have been cartoonish.
Yeah.
But he pulls it off so well.
Mhm.
So well. And also, going back to Carl Urban, do I have a crush on Carl Urban?
Possible.
But I was incredibly convinced, but Colin Fuller, Carl Urban, incredibly convincing. Of course, Vin Diesel is Riddick.
Mhm.
There's
He
nothing.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the Redeemer, what was that his name? What was the character? Begins with an R.
No, it wasn't that the,
Which character?
He was the blonde guy who ends up
At the end?
saving.
Yeah, okay.
Vin at the end.
Yeah, I saw that. Roush or something like that, the actor?
Yeah, he was also very, very convincing. What's the character's name, though?
He was just known as the Purifier.
The
Yes, Purifier.
Sorry, thank you.
Jesus,
yes.
I'm like,
the Purifier. It's a word. I know it is. Yeah, the Purifier. He was incredibly good.
Yeah.
The young woman who played Kira / was formerly Jack in
Yeah.
Pitch Black.
in Pitch Black was very, very good.
Yeah, the story of Kira from Jack. Very interesting.
I was
really
going to
like
bring
that.
Oh, I liked it. It worked for this movie, but it didn't work in the broader narrative.
Hmm.
For me, it looks like they needed a reason to get Vin to Helion, and the only thing they could think of was Jack. But in Pitch Black, you don't get the impression that he's really that protective of her.
That's true.
Right? So it didn't flow from the previous. It didn't flow from Pitch Black, but taken as its own thing, it was really good.
Well, they did do a short. I don't know if I necessarily want to say a movie, but in the trivia points, they did mention that there was a short thing to bridge the gap between Pitch Black and the Chronicles of Riddick. But I didn't.
Was that released after the fact?
I don't know. I just know
Was
that
it-
they mentioned that there was something to explain
Yeah, I did
what
see
happened
something
there.
in the. I
Is
did
that
see
the
some
animated
stuff.
short?
It could be.
That's
there was-
15, 20 minutes long.
Was that not Dark Fury or?
No, I think it was Dark Fury
maybe.
that the trivia was talking about.
That's an
that was
animated
supposed
version.
to-
That's an animated piece. But I didn't think it was only 20 minutes. I thought it was a good hour.
Oh.
So, so maybe there's some storyline in there that because I have heard that actually Pitch Black carries on into Dark Fury,
Mhm.
And the video game.
and then possibly into the
Yeah.
No, the video game was a prequel, wasn't it? Escape from Butcher Bay?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a
it was.
prequel.
Yeah, it was
There's more
supposed to give
story.
you
Yeah.
the background as to why Riddick became
Yeah.
the character that he is at the start.
Beyond the fact that he's a Furion and Destiny, etc.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or odds. Dame Judi Dench, I love you.
Yes. Oh my God. So much love for. That's actually one of the trivia points too. Is that
This is the
Vin-
movie that got Dame Judi Dench DMing because Vin told her how to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Because he was such a huge fan of her that he literally put a
Yeah.
billion bouquets of
Yeah,
flowers
he's
in
kept
her.
sending her flowers, like, do this part, I want you in this movie.
And they didn't start casting until she said yes. That was part of the trivia bit. Was,
Really?
until you say yes, we are not casting. That's it. You're doing this role. I don't care.
I will add, Vin, I love you.
Yes, exactly. So many moments I'm like, so much love.
Yeah.
So much.
I didn't realize, because I didn't pay attention to the credits the first 500 times I've seen this film, I didn't realize that Vin was one of the producers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that-
didn't realize that either.
Yeah, no, I
so-
saw his
Yeah.
name come up, I'm like, oh, brilliant. I really, and this is in general, I love when an actor loves somebody they've played so much that they'll go to extra lengths to see that character brought to screen more.
Yes.
And you can tell that the people making this film loved the material.
Mm-hmm.
It was I'm raving about this.
Yes.
I haven't raved about a movie like this since Pan's Labyrinth.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. Joe?
Yeah, no, it's just because I did read something in there. It sort of says that Vin Diesel's, is to Riddick as Arnold Schwarzenegger is to the Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Arnold is the Terminator.
Yeah, you couldn't
Vin is
have
Riddick.
you couldn't have a different Riddick. You couldn't. The only person who could be Riddick is Vin.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
I do have. There were some. I've already mentioned some of the corny moments, but there's some really melodramatic, should be in Days of Our Lives moments right at the
Oh, no!
And this is the line. Just like you did. Dramatic pause. Her. I shouldn't have. Well, actually, I should have. I was watching it alone. Who cares? I was sitting on the couch watching it and I went... I shouldn't have to do this in a movie this good. It shouldn't have been something that happened, but it did. And so all the, like, the pronoun game, all the hers were super melodramatic, and I'm like, oh, just, come on.
Mm-hmm.
You're ruining it, stop it! It didn't ruin it, it was still really enjoyable, but it was corny AF.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something that I really appreciated about this movie is the way the setting and the costuming are done is in such a way that it's so brilliant and very creepy at the exact same
The
time.
Necromonger's sort of heavy Baroque Gothic attire was amazing. Props to the costume designers.
Mhm.
I loved that the guards on Helium Prime all looked vaguely like Near Eastern, like vaguely from Saudi Arabia and surrounding areas. Sort of the long caps with the long fabrics and stuff, and in the reds and golds. What was it? What else? Oh yeah, and the settings. Helium Prime was gorgeous. Crematoria was amazing. What a fantastic concept. But I did have a few questions. Like,
Oh,
where is the atmosphere? I mean, this half of this planet is on fire for half the day. There shouldn't be any oxygen left. How are you all not dead from carbon monoxide poisoning because you've been running through, like, volcanic ash for the past, I don't know, half hour? Like, it was beautiful, and it was so tense and really well done, but then in the back of my mind, the scientist is going, wait a minute.
there
Just
were a
divorce
lot of
yourself from
points.
reality.
You have to suspend reality for that scene, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love it, it was well done, but...
There were a
Like,
lot
that
of
fire would suck all the oxygen. All of it.
Oh, well, there were a lot of points as well where they were like, okay, they talk about it being 700 degrees during the day and 300 at nighttime, and that would have this effect, this effect, this effect, and it goes through, and they're like, okay, so all of the things that are wrong with this movie, which is like, because you can click on the trivia bits and then you click on the mistakes, and half of it is on the temperature of the planet.
The temperature, yeah.
How are you not melting dead?
Even at nighttime.
Yeah, exactly.
They were talking Kelvin. That's it.
Yeah, when the temper
Well, even still.
when the temper differential hit, okay, badass scene. What's his face? Vin Diesel, Riddick, swinging down to collect Kira and then swinging back up.
Yes.
And then he stands up and he's all steamy and he's just like, epic! But you would be plastic, right? You would be a puddle on the ground, bubbling is what would actually happen. I mean, it looked amazing, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, nah. Nah.
Yeah.
You do have to suspend your disbelief, but it's so well done that it's not hard to suspend your disbelief for that whole duration.
And I found that there were so many moments where just the quotes cracked me up. So, yes, a 4-man crew for me, it's fucking insulting. I love you so much right now.
The one that made me smile the most was when Varko goes, I forget the names. Jurgen, one of my best, and Vin's just like, if you say so.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Or, I thought it was kind of comical when they were like, humans are a spontaneous outbreak. I'm like, I'm gonna stop and think about that for a minute.
So you brought 5 men this time.
Yes, and that cracked me up even harder. The computer when they're in the ship, where they're coming into the planet to bring him into a crematorium. And they go, angle of approach, not good!
That also made me laugh. I enjoyed that very much. Nice touch.
And then I also really liked I hate not being the bad guys. Now, the funnier part about that is at the very beginning of the movie, they talk about normally in stories you have good versus evil. But in this case, it is a different sort of evil versus evil. And I liked that they changed that from the normal status quo of being good versus evil to being evil versus other evil.
But I would argue that Riddick isn't even that evil.
No,
he's not evil. He's just a dude trying to survive in shitty circumstances.
And he really hates mercs, so of course when they come after him, he's like, no, I'm just going to kill you in the worst possible ways, and you're like, oh, some of those hits,
okay,
God.
Yes. I'll kill you with my teacup is still my favorite.
Yes!
Still my favorite scene. Because and then he picks up the ham tin key and just puts it down. The guards are like,
and
nope,
nope,
right out of there. Yep. There are so many other badass lines. My favorite line from Carl Urban's character, Varco, is in the confrontation scene right outside the hangar on Crematorium. And he says, so, you can kneel. Yeah. I'm like, oh, good line. Yeah. Excellent delivery. Good line. Thank you, script writers. Lots of really awesome stuff. Something that made me go, oh god, really, of course. Crematoria, the governor. Mm-hmm. Of course he's Australian. What else would you make a convict?
She's giving you the look, just so you know.
That said, his line, Eleanor, her name was Eleanor, I never really forgot. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I haven't watched this movie too many times. I can't quote things without looking at my notes.
Couldn't possibly. So, I do have a couple of trivia points, as I usually do.
Yes, go ahead.
So the fighting style that Riddick used is called Kali, which is a very straightforward kind of style.
It's Filipino art, isn't it? Kali?
I think so. And it talks about how it's a very powerful style that uses blunt weapons or something like 2 bamboo sticks. Important note, that would hurt a lot! That's bamboo! That's tough as balls! Yeah, okay, so that was...
Yes, it does hurt a lot. From experience, it really fucking hurts!
Judi Dench's dress was made entirely out of Swarovski crystals.
Was it?
Seriously. I was like, what?
You got to keep that dress, right?
I hope so. Please tell us that you kept that. Oh my god. And it's, like, you don't necessarily notice it. Like, I didn't know until reading the trivia bits, but also, like, she's doing all because she's the elemental, I loved the fading effect, and she's like, well, I can't fly, but I can glide really well, and I'm like, I love you.
My favorite example of the fading effect is when she's blowing her own fingers, and they sort of vanish.
Yes.
Beautifully done, nice touch.
Fantastic. Kyra was somewhat modeled after Amy Lee of Evanescence.
Was she?
Yeah. I thought that was very interesting. I'm like, actually, I can see that now that you've said it to me.
Yes, sort of. I don't know Amy Lee from Evanescence all that well, other than the songs. But Kira, I'm in two minds about Kira. I love that she's a badass. I love it so much. I love her character. I love how she feels betrayed by Riddick leaving, and how it's sort of the impetus for Riddick coming back and everything. It didn't flow from Jack. And that's my big thing.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
Dark Fury.
I've seen Dark Fury once, and I don't really recall
Yeah.
the storyline.
So as a sequel to Pitch Black, it didn't flow that well. There wasn't a lot of, other than there being a Riddick and Jack, formerly Jack, now Kira. Oh, and the Imam.
And yeah.
So. Who was actually...
But I think it's...
Really? I mean... Because he runs off, and I'm like, okay, fine. And then he goes into hiding, and then he comes out of hiding and attacks, like, the baddest guy there. I'm like, really?
Well...
What?
It was more...
Why?
Not because he deliberately did that. It was more of the, I'm going to do this to save my family.
You keep running!
Yes,
Don't come up to the guy with the 2 axes and a knife sticking out of his back and go, hey, I'm ready to meet my god, are you ready to meet yours? Like,
it was
no, Mom, no!
It was sort of out of character, you know,
Yeah, it
from
was.
Pitch Black and then into this one.
Yeah.
Completely out of character for him.
Yeah.
Again, I think that was one of those things that was supposed to be bridged with that, with Dark Fury, because they do mention something about the reason why Riddick is going back, like, I once saved you, and now you've done this to me.
Yeah, now you
and that is
Monks
a
to find
reference.
It is a reference. It's a reference to Pitch Black because he did.
Well, yes.
But
there was
to
also another
sort of,
saving.
It was also trying to maybe answer some questions for people who've only seen this movie.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know. So,
it wasn't, yeah. But
so,
it didn't feel too much like exposition, so it was pretty well done. All you needed was that one line. Was there anything that really bugged you about this film that you're just like, nah, I can't deal?
Other than the science?
Well, yeah.
No, the only point was closer to the end, right before, again, because of watching the director's cut. Right before the end, before the epic showdown, at that point I started thinking, this is a really long movie. And when I start thinking that, then I've kind of been sucked out a little bit. But nothing really grated at me, because of course you go back, you go into that last scene and the epic fight, and you're back into it, but there was just that tiny bit of, now you're starting to drag a bit. And that was the only thing that really irritated me, was if I'm pulled out of the movie and then drop back in, then I'm kind of like, okay, you needed to do something to keep me there the whole time.
I see. It was a long movie, but I was never pulled out.
Interesting.
Even though, despite the cheesy lines.
Well, sometimes that's worth watching for.
Well, okay. To his credit, all of Riddick's lines were very much in Riddick's character and made me go, yeah, that's the Riddick I know and love.
Exactly.
But there were other characters that said equally cheesy lines that just didn't quite make it, looking at YouTube.
Well, there's one whole scene in this thing that, from when I first saw this, not the pre-director's cut version, that never really made sense in this whole movie. And then, of course, after seeing the director's cut, it makes a whole lot more sense. And that's where the purifier sort of saves him and sacrifices himself, basically. That whole scene actually doesn't make any sense in the movie timeline unless it's in that, you get that lead up prior to that scene where he has another vision. And, whatever the hand. Has that whole scene, and because they pan over to the purifier's face during that big explosion.
The purifier was the only one who was not knocked backwards.
Yes, yeah, and so at that point, I think that's when he really realized that Riddick was a Furian, not just quoted as being one. Right, and so that whole scene didn't make sense up until you look at the director's cut.
I also like the seeds of doubt that were sown throughout the Purifier's character, like when he goes on the long tracking mission with Lord Varco, and he's like, they can be quite a test, these long things. And the first time I watched it, I'm like, yeah, he's trying to test Varco, something's going on. But no, he was the one that was actually unsure and questioning, and it all made sense right at the end when he, saves Riddick and then walks out.
Spoiler alert.
It's 2004.
Yeah, it's been quite a long time.
Also, you were warned 2 weeks ago we were reviewing this.
It's true.
Anyways.
Yeah. There is. I'm gonna one-liners again.
Yes.
In the ultimate scene when he's fighting, it's Vako and Riddick versus the Lord Marshal, and the Lord Marshal is like, "Give me your soul," and Riddick's just like, "Fuck you!" I'm like, "Yes,
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
Perfect delivery.
yes." Also,
Yes.
yeah, it was just. I have to say, Riddick's character has been consistent through Pitch Black to this, and I really enjoyed it. And then this movie was just so huge in scope and so beautifully filmed and scored, and the costumes were amazing and the settings were amazing, and that comet right before the Necromongers land is such a brilliant idea. Just the bad omen in the sky turns out to actually be the thing that's going to kill everyone.
Yeah, yeah.
I love this movie. Any last thoughts before we go to star rating?
No. I think you
Says
covered
the one
everything.
with no notes.
Yeah, right?
No, it was fantastic.
Evil look.
I still absolutely love this series. Beginning to end, doesn't matter what happens. It's just...
Quick question then. Which
Yes.
is better? Pitch Black or Chronicles of Riddick?
I prefer Pitch Black.
That is very... I don't know that I can decide that right now.
Okay, for me, to counterpoint, Chronicles of Riddick. Bigger scope, darker feel, the sort of bitter ending. I fucking love that bitter ending.
Yeah,
The
no,
sour
it's true.
taste in your mouth when you realize what's going on.
Yep.
Just everything about Chronicles of Riddick is what is a really good science fiction space opera to me.
Yeah.
It hit the nail on the head, right square in the middle. I
You know,
love
you
this.
reminded me. There is one last thought. A critic did actually call this Conan in space.
Not wrong. There were also there were also shades of the Two Towers in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Somebody's compared that to the Two Towers.
well, with the necromonger with the death device thingy coming running up,
and
uninstall the
that-
firing, and his heavy breathing, and I'm like, so clearly this is the Urukai with the Olympic torch at Helm's Deep,
I
right?
was thinking about, like, the gold.
The Goa'uld! Stargate is actually another sci-fi movie that I really enjoyed. That should be in the bowl. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Star rating then.
I'm going to give it 4.
4.
4.5.
Yes!
I love this movie. I love punk Carl Urban. I love angry, dark, arrogant Colfior. Vin Diesel is Riddick. There's nothing that can be said about that. Kira was amazing. I loved how they handled... There are only 2 women in this film, but I loved how they handled them. One is Kira, who's a fighting badass, and the other one is...
Manipulative bitch.
Kira is in a world where all the men have all the power, and the only way she can get some is by manipulating her husband.
Yes.
And what a manipulator! They wrote her so well. So yeah, 4.5. I loved this movie. Who wants to pick the next one?
We did last time.
I don't know. I'll do it this time since I haven't been here for a while.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds fair.
Sure.
We have the 2011 version of the Three Musketeers.
Oh!
I have seen this one.
Beautiful.
It's ridiculous. I'm
Yes.
really looking
Okay,
Yes.
sorry, yeah, I just realized which one this one was.
Yes. I'm
And
really
why it's in the bowl.
I'm really looking forward to this. So in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be doing The Three Musketeers, the 2011 version, in all its ridiculous glory.
Yes.
If you have any thoughts on the Chronicles of Riddick, do leave them down below. We'll also be putting that up for discussion in the Goodreads book club, even though it's a film. Whatever. I'll leave a link to that, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
The end. Get out.
Gotcha!